Hello, I'm Darren again. The topic for today's video comes from questions around self-gaslighting, particularly in the context of having been in a long-term abusive relationship. So in this video, I'm going to look at what self-gaslighting is, why people gaslight themselves, the effects of it, and look at some ideas to help break free from it. So gaslighting is a colloquial term referring to a form of psychological manipulation. It is aimed at rewriting a person's sense of reality, their sense of themselves, to make them doubt themselves, to make them easier to control. And self-gaslighting is different from having a healthy level of self-doubt, where someone might feel cautious or uncertain in some situations. It usually involves disregarding, even invalidating your own thoughts and feelings, and it can lead people to being afraid that maybe they're overreacting to things or being hard on themselves, sometimes even blaming themselves for the misery that others inflict on them. And it can lead to a sense of helplessness, low self-esteem, loss of agency, and self-defeating behaviours. And these things can keep someone in a negative feedback loop. If you think about it, it's a bit like being brainwashed, in the sense that someone who's been subjected to gaslighting over a long period of time can find that the lies they were told, the reactions they observed, become deeply internalized. They can develop an inner critic that erodes their confidence, their sense of reality, even their sense of self. That inner critic can prevent people from reaching their true potential, making decisions that are in their own best interest, and being able to move forward positively. Something to consider is that inner critic often mirrors the lies, the narrative of the abuser. For instance, I'm no good at anything. I deserve the worst. I shouldn't stand up for myself. I've no right to question. It won't work out because I'm a failure. The kind of things abusive, manipulative people often tell their victims. That inner critic can have people second guess themselves, fear making decisions, or making decisions out of fear, and judging themselves harshly. So, as I go through some common examples of self-gaslighting, remember this is not necessarily the person's own narrative. More often than not, it's someone else's. So, firstly, there is the suppression or the disregard of thoughts, feelings, emotions. For instance, someone's feelings might be hurt by something, but they do or say nothing out of fear of being mocked or criticized, even if that is in a completely different situation with different people. They might think there's something wrong with me for feeling hurt, for feeling embarrassed or angry. Whatever it happens to be, I have no right to feel what I feel. Whenever people aren't allowed to feel happy, angry, or express any kind of emotion without the consent of someone else, those feelings get suppressed. Where there is something like anger, and that has nowhere to go, that gets turned inwards, it becomes internalized, it can become quite dulled and it tends to come out as depression. Other times it maybe becomes quite corrosive, so it tends to come out as resentment. Our feelings tend to come out somehow. Secondly, some people believe that they are weak and powerless. Everyone else is much more powerful. They think they have no agency, and this can lead to low assertiveness. Now, yes, it's fair to say other people may be physically stronger, they may be more affluent, they may even hold a higher position at work, but that's not necessarily the same as being more powerful. You still have autonomy, you have agency, you are the expert on you, no one else. I think in many cases we are only ever really as weak and powerless as we are led to believe. Number three, no matter how good someone is at something, no matter how much they achieve, they might believe that they are talentless nothings who just get lucky from time to time. They don't deserve happiness, they don't deserve success, and they're just waiting for someone to call them out on it or to take that success away from them. It's like imposter syndrome. There's a difficulty in being able to accept or acknowledge one's own strengths, qualities, and achievements. There might be an internal dialogue there. If I were to acknowledge my skills, my achievements, then I'm just being big headed. Someone's going to come along and take me down a peg or two. Number four, I am worthless and don't deserve. Others have it harder than me. Now, maybe some people do have it tough, they may even have it tougher, but that doesn't mean you don't deserve better. Remember how I said the inner critic often mirrors the voice of the abuser. Many abusive people, particularly the narcissistic type, only really feel better about themselves if they feel better than others. They would prefer others to stay in a state of misery and unfulfillment. They gaslight others into believing they don't deserve anything good unless it comes from them, and it usually comes at a price. Number 5 is self-deprecation. Now, that could be, I am bad, I'm at fault, I am selfish for saying no, I'm causing trouble by disagreeing, I'm stupid for not understanding their nonsensical logic, or they don't understand me, so I'm not communicating properly. Narcissistic people tend to be quite elusive when it comes to reasoning or accepting responsibility. They tend to blame their partners, kids, parents, work colleagues, even the neighbour's cat for all of the misery and mayhem that they both inflict and experience themselves. Rather than face reality, they twist it. When gaslighting, they are twisting other people's reality, and over a long period of time, even if the victim doesn't believe it, they maybe come to accept it, and that narrative goes on like a constant negative feedback loop. The self-deprecating can lead to self-sabotaging and self-defeating behaviours, which reinforces the abuser's lies, even long after the relationship has ended, and it can leak into other areas of someone's life. Number 6 is believing there is a lack of autonomy, self-determination, decisiveness, and assertiveness. People who have been in long-term abusive, manipulative relationships can feel as if they have no control over their own lives. They might come to fear conflict, so engage in people-pleasing behaviours, which can be a fawning response to trauma. There can be avoidant behaviours. They may be self-sacrificing, accept less than they really deserve, and find it difficult to use their voice, to stand up for themselves. They may readily accept criticism and judgment, but deflect compliments and praise, and not necessarily that they're showing humility. Because think of it this way, the criticism may have been constant and harsh. The compliments only really came when the abuser wanted something, or to lull them into a false sense of security, perhaps so that the insults would hurt more. So even outside of that relationship, outside of that environment, perhaps getting praise at work might feel uncomfortable. They're perhaps waiting for the next attack that follows the praise, so they deflect it, maybe give others credit for their own work. Lastly, number 7. Someone who's been in a long-term abusive relationship might gaslight themselves by thinking only their abuser can fix this. Their healing, their recovery is dependent on the abuser acknowledging what they did, how they behaved, perhaps even apologizing. They may try to reason with themselves. If I compromise on this, if I don't argue about that, if I try harder to be nice, if we agree, maybe it will be better. Now, if the abuser was narcissistic, that ain't going to happen. Someone has very strong narcissistic traits. If they were to accept responsibility for their actions, to apologize, to acknowledge the hurt they've caused, it's like their whole sense of self would come crashing down like a house of cards. They might go into a narcissistic collapse. But even if they do know they've been very difficult, they've been toxic, they've been hurtful, they're also maybe aware that they are still receiving a narcissistic supply from that person who is hoping they will apologize, who is hoping they will acknowledge the pain they've caused. Bad attention is better than none at all. So there are just some of the common signs of self-gaslighting. So how do you break free from it? Well, it can be difficult to get through if it has been deeply ingrained, but it is not impossible. It takes time, it takes self-compassion and patience. Pay attention to that narrative in your head. Remember, whose narrative is it? The narrative, the inner critic, often mirrors and reflects that of the abusive person. If they lied to themselves, why wouldn't they lie to you? Counseling can help as well. A therapist can help you to explore, identify, and challenge that unhelpful inner dialogue. Build on your self-awareness and expunge some of those negative thoughts and feelings for something more balanced. You can learn to change self-defeating behaviors that keep you stuck. Life coaching can help build confidence, develop new skills to help you to move forward towards the goals that you have set. Building healthy, supportive relationships with others can help as well. People who are prepared to listen to you, disagree with you without insulting you, validate you, and bring out the best in you. Lastly, maybe talk to yourself. the same way you would talk to someone that you really care about. So that's a brief outline of self-gaslighting in the context of having been in an abusive relationship. As always, there's many things I haven't added, things I've missed. Please feel free to use the comment box below. But if there has been anything that you have found helpful in addressing that inner critic that's been left there by an abusive person, if you feel comfortable enough, please feel free to share it. Someone reading it might benefit from your experience and your wisdom. So if you find this video interesting, please consider subscribing to my channel, and until next time, thanks for watching.